Oh, Abu Qahwa. Abu Qahwa, the father of coffee. The coffee father. The coffee daddy. That's what you've named yourself. The coffee daddy. First of all, look, he's saying all this while sitting cushy from his home in the UK. Am I not allowed to sit cushy? Am I not allowed to sit comfortably? If I sat uncomfortably like this, am I allowed to speak now? Is that what you meant? What is he doing besides abandoning the Sunnah with regards to the Muslim leaders? Yeah, man. Abandoning the Sunnah. First and foremost, what was the stance of our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam against the leadership of Quraysh? Did he condone them? Did he support them? He completely rejected them, and the Quran completely rejects them. Hence, you've got a surah, literally, Surah Masad, Tabbat Yada Abi Lahab. It's condemning one of the nobles and the chiefs of Quraysh. Now, you're going to say to me, oh, but the Quraysh were mushrik. They were pagans. And therefore, you can't apply the same to the quote-unquote Muslim rulers today. Well, actually, you're going to say to me, the Sunnah, according to the Hadith, that even if the ruler is oppressive and he takes your money and he whips your back, you still hear and obey. And we say, hang on a minute, everything is within context. Who do these Hadith apply to? Do they apply to anybody who is in a position of authority of the Muslims? Do they apply to anyone who is in position of authority of the Muslims as long as they are themselves Muslim? Do they apply to women, for example? If they are our rulers, are we just meant to sit back idly and do nothing about it? Who do these ahadith apply to? And simply put, all of the ahadith that talk about the rulers, the leadership, those who take your money and whip your back unjustly, hear and obey unless you see, kufr buwahan or kufr surahan, as long as you see an open display of kufr for which you will have a proof in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who do all of these ahadith? They apply to a valid, legitimate, Shari'i ruler, i.e. a ruler who has been contracted, who has been given the bay'ah by the Muslim Ummah, and then they come in authority and then they become oppressive for whatever reason. Those whom had a condition on them to rule by Islam, to rule by the Sharia, and then later on for whatever reason they abandoned the Sharia, or they began to misapply Islam, or they ended up ruling by kufr wholeheartedly. It doesn't apply to the ones who have said from the start, who have intended from the start to rule by kufr. It doesn't apply to the ones whose very existence, whose very systems, whose very constitutions mandate that they rule by completely un-Islamic secular systems and secular laws. It doesn't apply to these Joeys, these dictators, these monarchical tyrants who have taken positions of power in the Muslim world today, who have usurped power, in fact, who are put in these positions by the UK and then later on by the US. It doesn't apply to these guys. Just like you wouldn't say that your girlfriend completes half your deen. Because obviously the hadith talks about the wife completing half the deen, not the girlfriend. You can't misapply it. Yeah, the Islamic rulings are applied within a specific context. And the context for, hearing and obeying and this kind of stuff is towards a valid, legitimate Shar'an ruler. Literally no benefit but destruction from within. Yeah, man, okay. I find it so crazy that it's been over a year and a half now, and the only thing we have seen from our so-called rulers is the complete selling out of Palestine and the complete full support for the occupying entity. And the only thing that, some of the supporters of the rulers can do is just say, oh, but bro, we can't speak about them, bro. You're abandoning the sunnah, bro. Whosoever amongst you sees an evil, let him change it with his hand or let him speak out against it. Yeah, have you forgot that part of the sunnah? Or about the sunnah where the Prophet ﷺ said, the best jihad is the word of truth spoken in front of a tyrant ruler. And that the best martyr is the one who enjoins the tyrant ruler with good and forbids him from evil, and so he is unalived for that. Like, where have all these hadith gone? Have you forgot about that? It's as though speaking up against clear treachery against the ummah from our leadership is haram. It's not allowed. It's quote unquote abandoning the sunnah, as the coffee daddy said. Let's be real about it. Let's look at what the ulama said. Let's look at what the ulama say. And also let's look at the understanding of the Sahaba. Let's look at the understanding of the Salaf. Yeah? And then you realize, actually, we do not want to be, giving our support to these kind of people, number one. And number two, we do not want to be raised with these people on Yawm al-Qiyamah.